So this here, lying on the table here, is lots of Jaguar components. Now these components are actually all very similar across multiple different models, from an XK to an F-type to an XF to the biggest XG as well. So the architecture stays very similar throughout, so the cars actually all have very similar dynamics no matter the size of it, believe it or not. But today we're going to focus on the XK because we've actually got our hands on one we fitted bushes years ago. So we're just going to take a look round at the failure bushes, why we've done them, and actually take a look at the car itself as well. One of the biggest upgrades you can do to this car is the front lower control arm, and it's the front kind of banana arm shaped one. The bush that's actually installed in this is quite a large bush, and this takes a lot of the acceleration, braking, cornering loads. So these have kind of strange infills which actually can pop out, and what you can see is very large voids down in there. Now this gives this bush quite a lot of deflection, quite a lot of play, which can lead to a kind of lack of steering input almost. It's that kind of delayed response when you want to turn in. So on our bush, when we looked at it, we wanted something that really gives consistent steering feel throughout. So when we came to do it, it's just one big large cotton reel that gets pressed in with a simple inner tube. So this really helps bring the car just that little bit of sharpness that it really deserves, just to make it a little bit nicer, a bit more precise on the road. The best thing about it though is it keeps the car as per the ride quality you would expect from a Jaguar. Nice, comfortable, quiet, but just that little bit nicer. Looking at the rest, we actually do a full kit for the XK, just like the other models. So we do the front control arm rear bushes as well, inner and outer, for the shock absorber and into the subframe. And we also cover the rear suspension as well, both upper and lower wishbones. On the rear there is quite a bad failure bush, which is this lower hub bush tucked away in here. This is something we spent quite a lot of time on. It goes from a spherical bearing, which really, because of the positioning on the car, it gets absolutely trashed by everything that comes up off the roads. The seals break and the bush just breaks down. What we have in here is a double bonded metalastic bush which gets pressed in, and it's a much nicer bush in there which keeps all the suspension alignment nice and neat. This actually has two different variants, again depending on what Jaguar it is. For this particular model it's a 54mm wide, but we also do one that's 59mm wide as well, just a little bit taller, which we supply with some washers to pack it out. All these bushes provide just that more confident ride while keeping the general dynamics of the car nice and comfortable as what you would expect. So on this hub bush, this is, because it's a double bonded metalastic bush, it either has to be pressed in using a hydraulic press or something along that lines. Some of the easiest stuff we always find is by winding it in with a threaded bar though. That is normally the easiest way. Sometimes you can actually do it while it's still on the car as well, depending on access as well. So just another option for you. Yeah. So now we'll take a look at the car, and we'll take a look how the bushes have done after about 7 years and what, 60,000 miles would we say? Let's take a look. Okay, so we got the car into the garage, we've got up on the ramp, we've taken a front and back wheel off so we can actually get in and properly look through all the bushes. We're going to take a little closer look at the 31BD, so this front control arm bush, just to see why it does actually fail. So on this, it's the kind of banana shaped arm that goes in, and this bush is actually responsible for taking most of the loading on the front suspension, just the way it's shaped. So if you can imagine the car under any sort of braking force, this arm here isn't actually taking a massive amount of load. It's really being transferred forward at a 45-degree angle to this large bush up here. And so if you have any sort of play or softness within that bush, you're going to get suspension geometry changes, which is not ideal when you're coming into a corner. So by having a slightly stiffer bush in here is going to keep alignment through cornering forces, braking forces, even under acceleration as well, to keep this wheel in alignment going around a corner. So this was actually our test development car all them years ago. So you're talking 7, 8 years ago when we first started working on this. So these bushes are actually a slightly different colour to what you would purchase now. Same hardness grade in the Red 85 Shore here, but instead we obviously done it black for the Jaguar market. So taking a look in, we've got this rear lower control arm here, this bush tucked in, going into the subframe here, and then moving on to the shock bush, coming down off the shock, tucked away in the arm here. And then going up to the top side, a front upper wishbone on both sides there. Okay, so now we're at the back end of the car. We're just going to take a look at the bushes. So again, these have been fitted for about 7 years now. So starting lower wishbone, there's 3 bushes on here. So we've got our inner at the back here. We've got this one here, and we've got the hub bush tucked away up under here. So this is the main failure bush we spoke about earlier on. So you can see our metalastic's been in there for 7 years, still absolutely spot on. A little bit of surface corrosion, but that's what can be expected for 7 years. We've also got the shock bush tucked in here as well. It's the 31AZ. Again, shock's a bit crusty, but the bush is still absolutely perfect. Then moving up to the top side, on our upper wishbone, the one at the front here, and away tucked up at the back here. These bushes still look, again, they're a bit dirty, but absolutely perfect.
Now, let's go and drive the car. So with the Polybushes fitted, how do you feel it's driving just on the normal roads?
Absolutely spot on. I generally don't think you would notice a difference at all. It feels absolutely at home. Obviously this is relatively quite flat road, so we'll see if we can maybe hit some bumps, but yeah, really comfortable.
Good. That. And the turning is improved a little bit sharper.
Yeah, it definitely. As soon as you touch the wheel, it's definitely direct for, you know, for what is a big grand touring car. It's definitely sharp. Get nice feedback through the steering across these little bumps here. Nothing too, you know, if you've got like a loose wheel bearing or something like that and you get them horrible vibrations come through. You know, there's nothing like that. It is still really nice and smooth. Nice and confident under the brakes as well.
Yeah. That road was a little bit bumpy, wasn't it? But it didn't seem to be chattery or anything.
It's nice, smooth. Confident though, I would say.
Yeah.
You know?
Doesn't seem to change the dynamic of the car though.
No, I know where it's going to go.
Yeah, well that's what you want. Controllable power delivery. Nothing feels untoward at all, does it? It's just very...
It's the way a Jaguar should be.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Really puts down the power, doesn't it?
Really nice and confident round that roundabout there. Nice feel back off the steering.
And then back to HK. So there we have it. If you want to upgrade your Jag steering while still keeping the real essence of the car, fit Polybush. Designed and manufactured in the UK.